Happy New Year's Eve, everybody! I honestly cannot believe I'm saying this, but this is the final episode of the year. What a year it has been, right? I know it's not just me, but 2025 feels like it's only just started, and here we are already at December 31st. Still, it feels really special to me to be wrapping things up and publishing the final episode on New Year's Eve. And before we go anywhere, celebrate, set new goals, I just want to pause with you. Take a breath with you and say thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing this space. Thank you for another amazing year together. Thank you for showing up week after week to listen for yourself, for your growth, and for your joy. As I sit here recording this final episode of the year, I'm feeling a mix of emotions, gratitude, reflection, emotional, and to be honest, a little bit of overwhelm as well, because this year has been a lot. There were moments of clarity and confidence, and moments where everything felt uncertain. Moments where things flowed with ease, and moments where I had to sit in the discomfort and ask myself hard questions. And if you are listening to this right now and thinking, yeah, that was my year too, you are not alone. Which is why I created this podcast 4 years ago, created this space, these conversations, and it's never been about perfection. It's always been about self-discovery and remembering who you are beneath the noise, the pressure, the expectations, and the roles you play every single day. And remember what truly makes you happy, your passion, your purpose, and your dreams. That's why for this final episode of the year, I didn't want to do a recap of achievements or numbers or milestones. Instead, I wanted to give you something more timeless. Something you can carry with you into the new year, no matter where you are at in your journey. Because over this past year on Find Joy with Joyan, I have had the honor of sitting with some truly powerful souls. People who have lived, who have lost, healed, built, broken down, and risen again. And who generously shared the mindset, the practices that actually help them shift their inner and outer world. So today, I'm bringing together 4 powerful practices that stood out across this year's conversations. Practices that will support you in becoming more grounded, more loving, more abundant, and more connected to yourself and others in the year ahead. They are simple, but they are not shallow. They are the kind of practices that quietly change everything when you commit to them. So whenever you are right now, maybe driving, maybe walking your dog, maybe cooking, I invite you to be present with me right now. Of course, if you are driving, you can do this later. And you don't need to do anything. You don't need to fix anything. Just be here, right now. Because this is what I do every year end. I take a solo journey, I go somewhere alone just to spend time with myself. And this is what I want you to do as well before you rush into new goals, new plans, and new versions of yourselves, or even parties. Take some time alone to pause, to reflect, and to reset. And with that, I want to share with you the 4 powerful practices that our guests have taught us this year. Practices you can start using before 2025 even begins to invite in more love, more happiness, and more abundance in your life. These are not do more, hustle harder practices. These are return to yourself practices. Practices that help you reconnect and step into the new chapter of your life, the new year, with grounded confidence and self-trust. So as you listen, I invite you to ask yourself just one question. One question. What do I want to carry with me into the new year? And what am I finally ready to release? You can also journal this later after this episode. And this is a question my coach asked me last night. And now it's my turn to ask you, because I care about you and I care about your growth. So take out your pen and paper. And again, obviously, if you're driving, pause me and come back to it later. All right, now let's begin.
So as kids, and this is really common, so as kids, we're just trying to look around and figure out, what is it like to be human? How do I be human? And we're watching everyone, trying to figure it out. And is what's going on for me normal? Because we want to fit in. We want to feel like we belong. And we are trying to figure out our emotions as children so we can navigate them. Now, most parents there's this social pressure to make sure your kids are either neutral or happy all the time. Otherwise, you're a bad parent, or you'll be judged, or you're embarrassed, right? Most adults don't know how to be with their own emotions, let alone have their kids be with their own emotions. So when a kid falls down, there's all of a sudden this huge pressure to get them to be neutral or happy.
Yeah.
And it triggers all sorts of feelings in them. They're like, oh my gosh, now I'm overwhelmed with feelings. And a lot of times it's anger. Like, why are you crying? Why did you do that? And there's this blaming, attacking, shaming stuff, and these different ways they react. All these different ways that parents react, not all, but most of them,
Yeah.
are invalidating the child's experience. So, for example, if your parents say don't cry, they're basically saying your pain right now is not valid. You need to stop crying, jump over the pain, ignore it, shut it down, get back to being happy right now because I'm not comfortable with this.
Yes.
Right? And then there's other like sweeter sounding techniques. One could be, you know, like, oh, look at the shiny water bottle. Look at this, you know, like, let me distract you from you being in pain right now.
Yes.
Which is basically teaching us that we need to distract ourselves when anytime we experience fear, sadness, anger, we need to just distract. So then we grow up, and what do? Food, sex, drinks, scrolling, shopping, anything to distract, right? We don't know how to be with our emotions. And then another one that I hear a lot of, which sounds nicer, is, oh, it's okay, you're okay, which sounds nice, but it's invalidating the child's experience again. It's like, yeah, what's happening for you in the bigger context, you may be okay, but right now the child needs to know that it's okay that they're not okay.
So what do we do?
Yes, what do we do? And, you know, if you're familiar at all with the Gottman's work, the Gottman Institute are the world's leading researchers on relationships. And I love a lot of the stuff they do. Now, they looked at what can we do to help people, the next generation, to help kids grow up to be able to have healthy relationships, loving relationships. And they found the number one predictor is to help children learn how to be with their emotions. Well, most of us adults don't know how to be with our emotions. So we can start here with ourselves. So they created something that I'm going to teach a little modified version of relationship coaching for you today, and everybody can go home and try this.
Okay.
So the first step is for you to witness what happened. So I'll give you an example with a child, and I'll give you one for relationships. So with the child was running really fast, fell down. So I would say that, oh my gosh, you were running so fast and you fell down. You cut your knee. That's number one. All I did was witness.
Okay.
Second, I'm going to name the emotion, or have them name the emotions. You're probably, you know, if it's under the age of 7, I would say something like, oh, you're probably feeling really sad and scared and in pain. Third, we're going to empathize. So if I can empathize with that situation, great. If I can't empathize with the situation, I'm going to empathize with the emotional cocktail that they're going through. Okay? So, when I fall down, I also feel sad and scared and in pain. And is there anything else I could add? Yeah, and you know, sometimes I even look around to see if anybody saw me, because I might feel really embarrassed.
Yeah.
Right? You've done that before, right? Like, you fall down, you're like, crap, did anybody see me? Yeah. We all do it. Nobody taught you how to do that, but we all experience it. It's so human. And then finally, I ask, is there anything you need? Do you want a hug? Do you want a Band-Aid? Do you want some help problem solving, that thing that you were running from? Right? This is where I offer problem solving without telling them the problem solving. That going through these 4 steps is the actual problem solving, because our emotions want to be in motion, but they're stuck. So we can't think clearly, and we can't connect. And we just want to be seen, heard, and loved, but we're not. People are jumping over our pain again, just like that happened in our childhood. So with your significant other, you get into a relationship, you have something that has come up, a big emotion. Like, let's say my husband came home from work and he's had a hard day. First thing I do, I'm going to witness. Oh, babe, tell me about your day. He's like, oh, you know, I was stuck in traffic and my client canceled. Okay, you were stuck in traffic and your client canceled. All I did was repeat. That's it. 2, I'm going to help him name the emotions. What are you feeling, babe? Oh, I'm feeling so frustrated and really let down. You're feeling frustrated and let down. 3, I'm going to empathize. Now, maybe I've never been stuck in traffic. Maybe I've never had a client cancel. But I can still empathize with, have I ever felt frustrated and let down? Heck yes. I have felt those feelings multiple times in my life. And I can just tune into those feelings and be like, oh, babe, when I have felt frustrated and let down, it just sucks.
Yeah.
That's it. Fourth, is there anything you need? Is there anything you need? Do you want me to make us some dinner? Do you want to cuddle? Do you want me to go beat up your clients? What do you want? And after we move through those 4 steps, in so many cases, if not all of them, the people who are in those situations, in those big emotions, they feel seen, heard, and loved, and they're able to get out of the stuck place and move on, and they can do their own problem solving, and they can get back into the moment again. They're not consumed by what was going on. So I think this is such a big skill, and you can do it to yourself too. And this is great practice.
Yeah, I was about to
Yeah.
ask that.
Yeah. So can I give you an example of like how to do it yourself? Okay. So I'll tell you a story from my own life. I was driving my motorbike like we do here in Bali, and I came around a corner and another bike almost hit me. Like it stopped this far from my knee.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you know? And in my family, my childhood, the message that I received was, it's okay, you're okay, keep going. And so if I just would have kept going, I would have been holding all that trauma in my body, and I would have been dangerous on the road to other people, potentially. So instead, I pulled my bike off the road and I shut it down, and I went into like a bathroom and I just kind of like breathed and shook it out for a minute. And then I emotion coached myself. 1, I witnessed what happened. Okay, I was driving really fast, I wasn't fast. I was driving, came around a corner, another bike almost hit me. 2, what am I feeling? Name the emotions. I'm feeling scared, surprised, and glad it wasn't worse. 3, I'm going to empathize with those emotions. When have I in my past felt scared, surprised, and glad it wasn't worse? And before I could think of the memory, my hands did this. And I then remembered, oh my gosh, when I was 18, I was in a car accident and I got whiplash. And I remember feeling scared, surprised, and glad it wasn't worse. My body remembered before my brain did. And so I was able to just be with this for a minute and ask myself that 4th thing, what do I need? And I realized I need to call my husband or my best friend and just tell them what happened, kind of verbally process. And I live in Bali. I need to book one of the amazing Balinese massages. And by the time that whole thing finished, it took me somewhere between 30 seconds to 2 minutes to do all of this. And then I was able to get back on my bike and drive away and be a safer driver and to not hold trauma on top of trauma and let some stuff go. Right? And it's so powerful. So you can do this now for yourself. You can do it when you are feeling proud of something. You can do it when you're feeling really excited about something. You can do it when you're angry or sad. It doesn't matter. It's like, how can you be with your emotions and coach yourself through them and give yourself what you need to help feel seen, heard, and loved? And when you practice this muscle,
Right.
If you're single, if you're not single, doesn't matter. But when you practice this muscle, bringing it into your relationship is so much easier, and you're going to see how much ease it creates in the dynamic.
A simple thing that you can do is have that conversation. For a lot of people, having the conversation with the person who has really hurt you or made you feel not good enough, you're never going to get the actual response that you crave in real life. So even if this person is still around, maybe having that conversation might not actually be that useful because they may not be capable of saying what you want to hear. So a technique is to close your eyes and you visualize having that conversation with that person. So what I would say to someone is think of a happy place, a safe place, somewhere that you feel confident and it's your place. It can be anything. Like for some people, being on the beach is just calming. They love it. They love being by the water, or it can be, in nature, or it can be in your bedroom because it's your space. For some people, it's like sitting at a table and this person's across from you because they don't want that intimacy. And so what you do in this situation is first you say everything you've ever wanted to say to this person, how they've made you feel, what you wanted from them, everything, anything that you have ever wanted to say. You say everything until you can't think of anything else to say. So you've got it all out. And then what I think is even more empowering is the second part where the person responds to you with everything you've ever wanted to hear. Even if it would never happen in real life, they say everything that you've ever wished that they would say to you until it's all finished and you've heard all that you've needed to hear from them. And then you can carry on responding or whatever, and you play out this conversation exactly how you would have wanted it to be. And it's amazing how cathartic it is, because a lot of our feelings about ourselves come from somebody else. And what's crazy is that this person will not even be aware of the effect that they've had on us. It could be a school bully when you were 12, and this kid was just acting because he was insecure himself, and he has no idea how he's affected you. And this thing, whatever it was, a name he might have called you, or one situation where you felt really stupid or really humiliated, and it's affecting you for your entire life. And this guy has no idea, and would not even have, you might even run into this person one day and they'd be like, hey, we went to school together, and they have no idea, and yet we've carried this ourselves for so many years. And so just having this moment to say what you needed to say and hear what you needed from this person, have them apologize and explain why they behaved the way they did, whoever it is, whether it's a parent that wronged you, or an ex, or a lot of divorce situations, having that ex apologize and explain their side of things, and you being able to just say what you needed to say to them, can be very cathartic for people, and they're able to just shut that door and move on. And then you don't actually need it in real life, because it's kind of like it's done. It's what you needed to hear, and it's finished, and you can move on. Because I think for a lot of people, you realize in that moment that, this person was just acting in the best way that they knew how, and it was their issue, not yours. And by having that conversation, you can sort of see it and understand it, which is what the reality is. But we never really accept that. It's like you spend the rest of your life wishing that your father would give you a hug and say, I love you, I'm proud of you. Maybe that would never happen, because for whatever reason, the way he was brought up, he just doesn't know how to do that. And so you're never going to get that in real life, but it doesn't mean that they didn't feel that way. And just playing out the situation can, in many cases, give people what they needed to feel and hear, so that they can move on.
A really simple practice is actually placing your hands on the part of your body where you feel pain or stuckness, or you feel, like I just don't feel good there. The energy is not moving there. And getting to know this part. And you might start by exploring, let me feel the sensations, because that's the easiest way to kind of explore what are the sensations that I'm feeling? What are they about? And then as you become conscious of the sensation, it's going underneath the sensation. If there was a thought pattern, if there was a belief or several, let's start with one. What is the belief of this part of my body? What am I, what is it that I'm storing or believing? And so maybe it's your throat that you're working on, and you go, I feel so uncomfortable and stuck because there is somebody I need to communicate with, but I'm really, really afraid of communicating with them. And then you might go further and you might go, well, why am I afraid of communicating with them? Oh, because I'm afraid of being rejected. And you might go, okay, is there any other part of my body that is connected to rejection? And another part might show up, and you move your hands there, knowing you'll come back to the throat. And you would go, okay, let's say I put my hands on my liver, and I go, wow, I feel rejection here. And again, let me ask myself, what else do I feel here? And it might be this sense of like, I have been stopped, I cannot move forward. And maybe for one day that's enough. And the next day you come back and you do the same, and you go and you write all of this down. It's really, really important that you journal. And then in the next day you go, okay, now I'm a little bit stronger, and I want to go a little deeper. And I might ask, well, who rejected me, or who was I angry with, or afraid of, around my liver? And again, you might have some basic knowledge, ideally, of this is masculine, and you go, maybe there's a part of me that's really, really angry with my dad, or some person that, maybe it's my boss, and I need to find a way, if they're alive, maybe I need to find a way to communicate with them, but I might not jump at that. I might write down ideas of how to communicate with them. First, before I do that, I need to release the charge or whatever is stuck. Like, why am I so angry? And maybe I realized that when I was 10, I took what my dad did in a way as a 10-year-old, like, you rejected me, but maybe my dad was just busy at that time. Or maybe he was, going through his own struggle at the time. And so I start to expand my perspective. And as you expand your perspective, there's a letting go that happens. And so the first step is really that people need to do is slow down and get to know your body by placing your hands on the different parts and asking questions about thinking, what are the beliefs, what are the emotions, and what are the experiences? And in the experiences, what is the perspective that I took? And is this a perspective that is going to keep me stuck? Or is this a perspective that can lead me to health and change and new possibilities? And that's kind of how our soul and our body work together.
Are you treating money the same way that you treat your significant other? So how most people treat money is, I want it when I want it. When I have it, I want as much as I want. I want to show it off to everybody because I just want everybody to see how cool I am that I've got all this money. And then when there's not enough of it, I'm annoyed. When I'm not thinking about it, I'm not thinking about it. It's not part of my life at all. I have no appreciation for it. I just want it when I want it. I want as much of it as I want when I want it. Imagine if you treated your significant other that way. How long do you think that relationship would last? Not very long, because who wants to be around somebody that takes you for granted, that never thinks about you or appreciates you or cares about you beyond how you can make them look when you're out in public, right? If we shift our relationship to money, to that of a significant other, oh my gosh, every time it shows up in the room, I appreciate it. I'm so happy that it's here. I'm thinking about, how can I make my relationship with money better? How can I expand my own capacity so that I can make money happier when it's with me, so that we can have a better life together, so that we can do more things together? Suddenly we're looking at, whoa, that's a pretty cool relationship. That's a relationship that I want to be in. And when you're looking at money as a universal band of energy, well, energy is attracted to energy that's similar. So if money is operating at a certain frequency and it wants to get attracted to someone, it's going to be looking for someone who's going to appreciate it, who's going to honor it, who's going to cherish it, who's going to know exactly what it can provide and what it can't provide. If you're in a relationship and you're clear your significant other can't change a tire, you're not going to expect them to change a tire any more than you're going to expect them to do brain surgery if they're not a brain surgeon. We don't have expectations of our significant, or we ought not to have expectations of our significant other of things that they can't provide. Well, we do that with money all the time. We think money's going to make us happy. We think money's going to buy us security. We think money's going to buy us a sense of fulfillment. Yeah. None of those things are true, at least not in my experience. So we appreciate money for what it is and for what it can provide us. And when it does provide us those things, we love that. We appreciate that. We celebrate that. And then money will want to show up in our lives. And as we look at expanding our capacity around money, we're looking at not just how to relate to it, but how do we make it better? How do we make more of it? How do we have it grow? I want my significant other to grow in their life if that's what they want. I want money to grow as well. So I need to educate myself. Right. I need to go look at and do the research on, okay, well, how do I make my money grow? Is it through investments? Is it through stocks and bonds? Is it through real estate? Is it through something else? Well, I'm going to go do the research and I'm going to figure out what that looks like for me. I'm going to go to experts and I'm going to talk to them and I'm going to get lots of information from experts so I can make those choices on my own. Now, a mistake a lot of people make is, oh, I'm just going to turn it over to someone else. I'm going to let someone else handle that. Well, that's the fastest way to get separated from your money, because there are some great people out there, financial advisors, but there are some ones out there that are not as interested in you making money so much as they're interested in their making money off of your money. So if you don't understand what they're going to do with your money, how can you expect them to ever take care of it? That would be like turning your child over to a babysitter and you have no idea who this person is or how they're going to take care of your kid. We would never do that. But we would do that with our money? No. You want to make sure you're clear about what they're doing. So we want to ongoingly expand our own capacity, our own understanding and knowledge of how do I make my money grow. I have the same practice every single morning. I wake up, I go into my kitchen, and I make my coffee in the morning, my Nespresso or my cappuccino. And as soon as I take that first sip, it's like the first time I've ever had it. I savor and love the flavor of it. And that is my gift, not to just myself, but to the universe, because I'm now about to make a request of the universe. And I request 3 specific things every single morning. And I feel it and I appreciate it and I'm grateful for it. And the very first thing is an abundance of money in my life right now. That's what I request. So I have this universal, I call it my universal request. I make it every single morning. I only request 3 things, no more than that. You could request less, but no more than that. First one's always money. I request that the universe provide me with an abundance of money. And I feel what it feels like, and I'm grateful for it right now. Even if it hasn't shown up in your life, I'm grateful for it right now, and I can feel what it feels like to have it in my life right now. And then I go about my day, and I'm looking for and watching for that manifesting in my life. You take that one activity and you put it in place every day, and you do it consistently every day, and you feel it every day. And then you watch for it showing up in your life will be different, I promise you, in just a month. You will not have the same experience of life. And then what you'll notice are other things that you can start taking on. So I'm constantly doing things to expand my own capacity because I'm clear I'm not arrived. I'm never going to arrive. I'm going to be on this journey until I take my last breath in this life. And I love learning new things, regardless of what it is. And I'm always reading something new. I'm always researching something new. And I'm always open to people contributing to my life. So be that for yourself. Be interested in learning. Be interested in expanding your own capacity, not just around money, but around anything that interests you, and watch your life change.
Wow, so powerful, right? Which one stood out to you the most? Choose that one and commit to it. Because the thing is, you don't need to do all 4. Just start with the one that resonates with you the most, and you can add the others over time. But of course, if you are able to do all 4, by all means, go for it, because each one focuses on a different outcome. But I would say start with the area that you want to work on, especially in the new year, and take it from there. Alright, now just a few more words before I wrap up and let you go. Honestly, this year has changed me in ways I didn't expect and moved me in direction that I had never expected. Some beautiful, some fun, some challenging, some difficult, but all of it meaningful, and I believe they were all meant to be. So again, as I was sitting down doing my year-end journaling and goal setting, I've been thinking about this podcast. Its alignment with everything else I'm doing in my life and what truly matters moving forward. So as I look ahead to the new year, I'm also thinking about how this podcast continues to grow and evolve too. And I really want you to be a part of that conversation. I would love to know, what have you enjoyed most this year or from this podcast so far? What kinds of conversations really stayed with you? Or what do you wish we talk about more? Or are there any topics you are curious about or questions you are sitting with right now in your own life? Or maybe there is a type of guest you would love to hear from next year, or a certain guest you would want me to bring back for another round of conversation. So honestly, nothing is off the table. Nothing. I'm genuinely open and really, really want to hear what you would love more of. So please send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, whenever we are connected, or reach out in whatever way feels easiest for you. I read every single one. I read every single message, every single email, every single DM, comment, and your feedback truly helps shape where this show goes next. So don't be shy. I want to know what's working for you or what's missing and how I can make this even better. So help me help make this podcast better for you. Again, I want to say thank you for listening today on New Year's Eve, for trusting me with your time, and for being part of this journey. And I can't wait to continue growing, learning, and sharing this space with you. As we move into the new year, I want you to feel excited, energized, and ready. Ready to take bold steps, ready to connect more deeply, ready to embrace abundance, joy, happiness, health like never before. So here's to a phenomenal 2026, my friend. Let's make it our best year yet. Let's make a promise to each other. Alright, I cannot wait to connect with you very soon. And until then, go out, have some fun, celebrate, reward yourself, give yourself a pat on the back and say, you rock, you did great, and good things are coming. Happy New Year! I will see you in 2026. Bye for now.